Hey guys, it's Shelby from Big Cat Creative, and in today's video, we are going to talk about uploading your custom font to Squarespace. Now, Squarespace does come with a huge selection of beautiful fonts that are automatically available in the platform, which is great. We love them for that because it allows for so much flexibility when you're DIYing your own website. But do they have that stunning font that you searched and searched for and finally purchased from Creative Market and then used throughout all of your branding and social media graphics? Probably not. So, the only solution then is to just go ahead and upload your custom font directly into Squarespace so that you can use it wherever and whenever you want throughout your website. I am going to walk you through step by step on exactly how you can do that in Squarespace. But first, it's really important to make sure that you have all of the correct licensing for your font so that you are actually legally able to use it on your website. And if you can't find the legal or licensing details, it's usually always best to just email the font platform or the font creator and ask them. It's always better to be safe than sorry, aka find. So, with that being said, let's actually walk through a few of our favorite places to find custom fonts before getting into the nitty gritty of uploading it to your website. First up is Creative Market, which is a design marketplace that has one of the biggest premium font offerings around. You can browse all different types of styles and aesthetics. You can even search for specific keywords to look for fonts that might match the vibe that you're going for. And they also have options of all different price ranges, so you're definitely sure to find something that's going to work for you. And the greatest thing about Creative Market is that you can clearly see if a font is licensed for web use before you purchase it. So, for example, if you click on a font, you'll be able to see over here on the right-hand side what different types of licensing options you can purchase. So this font, for example, has a desktop, web font, EPUB, app, all of these different options. You can hover over the little question mark if you're not sure exactly what that option means, and then just purchase the licensing along with purchasing the font. This is super convenient because you know that you'll already be covered and can use your font freely on your website without worrying about any legal issues. Next up is Adobe Fonts, which is really great for anybody who is already paying for the Adobe Creative Cloud. Once you've paid your subscription for that, you get unlimited access to this massive library of fonts that they have. You can scroll through and filter over here on the left-hand side. You can choose different tags of styles. You can choose between styles like sans serif, serif, hand, all of those, and other options as well to get a little bit more specific in the style that you're looking for. You can also add in some sample text up here to see what each font is going to look like in your brand name or some text that might be going on your website to see exactly how it's going to look, which is super nice and convenient. And last but certainly not least, we love good old Google Fonts. Google Fonts has a huge library, and all of the fonts here are completely free to use. It's also a super accessible platform and doesn't require a ton of previous font knowledge, which makes it great for somebody who is DIYing their website or working with fonts for the first time. You can add some preview text over here on the left-hand side, as well as filter through different styles, appearance, and vibes. And once you find a font that you like, you just simply download it to your computer and it's yours to use as you please. All right, so now that you know where you can find some beautiful custom fonts for your site, let's dive into actually uploading those to your website. Now, doing so is super simple, but there are some tiny differences in the steps between Squarespace 7.1 and 7.0. So I have both of those opened up in my browser here, and I'll be sure to walk through the steps for doing this in both. So just make sure to check which version you're using before moving on with this tutorial. So once you have found and purchased your perfect custom font, you're gonna wanna make sure that it is downloaded to your computer in a file type that Squarespace is going to accept. Typically, all of these main font marketplaces and foundries are going to make things super easy by automatically sending you a download link once you've purchased the font. And even better, the font is most likely automatically going to come in a .ttf or a .otf format, which is all you need to move forward. Squarespace also accepts .wath and .wath2 files. So if you have a choice of whichever file type to choose, just make sure to choose one of those four and you'll be all good to go. You can then save that file type somewhere safe on your computer and get it ready to upload into Squarespace. So to start, let's walk through the steps of uploading your custom font to version 7.1. First, you're going to navigate to your site styles by clicking on the paintbrush up here in the top right-hand corner, and then click into the Fonts tab by clicking on this little arrow to the right of where it says Font. And then from here, you can click into any of the specific font format tabs to upload your custom font. So you can do this in the Headings tab, the Paragraphs tab, the buttons, the miscellaneous, anywhere that you can upload or assign a font, you can upload your custom font. So for this example, we're just going to click into the Headings tab. And then in this formatting panel under Font at the very top, you just click on the drop-down menu here where your currently activated font is displayed. You can then click on the upload icon over here on the top right-hand corner. And from this window, you can either click on the plus sign right here to directly upload a file from your computer, or you can just literally drag and drop your files straight into this window. So I'm just going to open up my font file here and drag it straight in there. And that is all there is to it. Once the font is uploaded, it's going to show up right here under uploaded fonts. And if you click the back arrow, you'll then notice that you have a new uploaded category in your list of fonts here, and your uploaded font should show up right there under that list. And you can go ahead and repeat that process for as many custom fonts as you'd like. And then if you ever need to delete a font that you've uploaded, you'll just come back to this window here and click on Manage next to the Uploaded section, and then click on the X next to whichever font that you'd like to delete. If you've uploaded a font that has a bunch of different variations, you can click on the X next to the main name at the very top, and it will delete all of the fonts that fall under that name. Or you can delete individual font variations by clicking on the X directly next to that specific name. This example only has one variation, so I can choose either. But if I just go ahead and click the X there and then delete, that font is then going to just automatically be deleted from my list of uploads. Okay, now let's walk through how to do the exact same thing in Squarespace version 7.0. Again, you're going to want to navigate to your site styles by clicking on Design and then Site Styles. And then once you're in your Site Styles panel, you can go ahead and locate any font that you'd like to customize. So if you know what you're looking for, you can go ahead and just click on it on the right-hand side here, and it will automatically show up in the Site Styles panel over here on the left. Or you can just go ahead and scroll through the panel until you find a font tweak that you'd like to customize. And just remember that in version 7.0, only the elements that are in use on the page that you're currently viewing are going to show up in your Site Styles panel. So just make sure that you navigate to each page individually on your website to view all of the font tweaks throughout your site. Okay, and then once you find a font tweak that you want to customize, you're just going to go ahead and click on the drop-down menu where it says Font, and then click on the second drop-down menu next to where your currently activated font choice is displayed. Click on the upload icon in the top right-hand corner. And then here you can click on the plus icon to choose a file from your computer, or you can just go ahead and drag and drop your file right into this window. And then once your font is uploaded and shows up right here under the uploaded fonts window, you can go ahead and click on that back arrow and you'll see that your uploaded font now shows up in this main list of fonts. And again, if you want to delete your font, you can do so the exact same way that you would in 7.1 by clicking on Manage, and then clicking the X next to whichever font you'd like to delete. And then once your font is uploaded, you'll be able to just go ahead and choose it whenever you make a customization, just like you would any other font in Squarespace. You don't need any additional code. All you need to do is access the font type or specific font tweak that you'd like to customize and choose your custom font from the list of uploaded fonts. So for this example, if we go back into that Headings tab, click the drop-down menu, and then choose our uploaded font, you'll see that all of my headings now take on that new Botanica font that I just uploaded. And then once you've chosen your custom font, you can also adjust any of the built-in font styling options like line height or letter spacing. All of these styling customizations are going to work just like they would normally, And everything can be done right here in your site styles panel, which makes making tweaks super quick and convenient. And same for 7.0. Once you've uploaded your font, you can go ahead and head back to the font tweak that you want to make, click the drop down menu, choose your uploaded font, and it will automatically make the change to whichever font tweak you've chosen. I also wanted to point out that in version 7.1, you can customize individual text elements around your website by utilizing the Assign Styles tab, which you can access by going to your Site Styles panel, clicking into fonts, and then going to the very bottom of this menu and clicking on Assign Styles. Once you're in this panel, you can then locate a specific element on your website. So, for example, your site title or your site navigation, and then click on whichever tweak you want to make. So for this example, let's go with site title. Then under style, make sure that this option is set to custom, so that you can then change the font to whatever you'd like individually from all the other elements on your website. And then click into the font drop-down menu and choose your uploaded font from the list of all of your uploaded fonts. So in this case, we only have the one. And as soon as I choose that, you can see my site title over here on the left-hand side has changed to that custom font, but nothing else on my website as far as text goes has been affected. And that's all there is to it for uploading your custom font and using it throughout your Squarespace website. Now, if you are using version 7.1 and you want to make some additional tweaks like customizing your various headings to have different fonts, there is a little tiny bit of extra coding that you do need to implement, but it's honestly super simple and it's really just a matter of copy and paste. So I'm going to walk through that next. So unfortunately, in version 7.1, Squarespace doesn't allow you to make separate tweaks for separate headings and paragraph styles. So for example, your heading 1 and your heading 2 can't automatically be given different fonts just within the built-in Squarespace site styles. Same with your paragraph styles. Paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3 all have to have the exact same font. But there is always a way to get those customizations. And like I said, this only takes a tiny little line of code. It's really super easy. So let's get into how you can do this. First things first, you're going to want to make sure that your custom font is uploaded to the miscellaneous font section. So to access that, head into your site styles, click into the fonts tab, and then click into where it says miscellaneous. And then from here, you're going to follow all the same steps to upload your custom font. So click on the font drop-down menu. And if you want to upload a font that is not already uploaded, just go ahead and click the upload icon and drag and drop that font file in. Otherwise, you can just go ahead and choose a font from your already uploaded list of fonts. And doing this is going to assign your custom font to all of the text throughout your website that is using the miscellaneous style. But don't forget that you can always hop into that Assign Styles tab and individually make font tweaks there. So if changing your miscellaneous font messes with any other tweaks you've made, you can go ahead and manually fix those in the Assign Styles tab. Okay, so once you've done that, go ahead and save your changes and then exit out of your Site Styles panel. And then next, you are going to actually assign your custom font to a specific style. And you can do that by using the root code for all miscellaneous text in Squarespace. So to do this, navigate to the Custom CSS panel, which you can do by clicking the / key on your keyboard and then typing in Custom CSS. And that will take you directly to your custom CSS window. Next, you are going to do a little copy and paste of some code, which you can find in the blog post that goes along with this video, and that will be linked in the description below. So be sure to click on that so that you can just go ahead and grab this code and super simply paste it into your custom CSS window. It is going to look something like this. And meta is the indicator for miscellaneous text. So this code is telling Squarespace to assign H1 whatever text you have set for meta. So you can see I've pasted this code in, and right away, my heading 1 font right here has changed to that custom Botanica font. At the same time, all of my other headings have remained the other heading font that I have currently assigned in my site styles. So that code that I just added made it so that only my heading 1 changed. And you can go ahead and use this same exact code to change any of the other headings and or paragraph texts that you want. All you have to do is change the selector here. So let's say I wanted to change my heading 2. I would just change this to H2, and you'll see my heading 1 goes back to the font it was previously at, while my heading 2s all change to my custom font. And again, we have all of the different selectors that you can use in Squarespace 7.1 in the blog post for this video. So if you head in there, you'll be able to see all of the different selector variations that you can use for this code. It is also important to note that when you do add this code, the text that you customize is officially going to take on the style properties for whichever selector you've used. So for example, using the H1 selector is going to cause that text to take on the size and the letter spacing and other properties that are currently set for my heading 1 text in my site styles. This means that I can't really tweak the style properties of this custom font without also tweaking all of my other headings. But don't worry, there is some code for that as well. And you can also just go ahead and copy and paste this directly from the blog post. And it's going to look a little bit like this. And adding all of these properties and elements is going to allow you to customize that custom font a little bit further. So you can tweak the font weight, the font size, the text transform, things like that. And you can just go ahead and play around with these variables until you're happy with how things look. So now I have a unique and customized heading 1 on my homepage, while all of my other headings have stayed exactly the same, and that just makes things that much more unique and special. And as always, be sure to click Save in your custom CSS panel once you have made changes that you don't want to lose so that things don't automatically disappear on you. And then the final thing I wanted to go over with you is creating new selectors using code blocks. There might be a situation where you don't really want your custom font to totally replace one of your existing heading fonts. Maybe you want to upload an extra accent font to complement things, but you just don't want it to completely replace things, or you don't want to lose access to your existing headings. The easiest thing to do in this case is to literally create your own selector. So for this, you're going to use that exact same code that we were using before to customize our heading 1. Except you're going to replace the heading 1 selector with something like heading 5 or anything else that is unique and not used anywhere else around your site. Squarespace doesn't automatically have a heading 5 option built in, so using heading 5 or H5 can be a really good choice in this case. This means that you are actually creating an entirely new heading. And then the biggest difference with this method is that you do have to add your text within a code block as opposed to just a regular text block, since you aren't going to find a heading 5 option because, like I already said, Squarespace doesn't have a heading 5 option. So to do this, you're first going to want to add this code into your custom CSS window, click Save, and then go ahead and enter editing mode. Then anywhere on your page that you want to add this new heading, you can go ahead and click Add Block, and then choose the code block. From there, you can go ahead and move this block wherever you want on the page, adjust the sizing of the block, and just make sure that you are happy with its placement. You can then double click on your block to open up this window where you can then type in your new text. To do this, you'll just need to add in some tags for your new selector. So in this case, we will add H5, and then you can place your new text right here, and then finish it off with that tag again. And we also have this little line of code in the blog post so that you can just go ahead and copy and paste it, even though it's super simple. Once you've done that, you can click out of that window and you'll see your new text right here. And then similarly to our previous customizations, using this method, you are not going to be able to change the font settings, so things like size, line height, etc., in your site styles panel. You're going to have to add those extra code lines in order to make those customizations. So let's go ahead and save this and head back into our custom CSS panel, and then copy and paste back in those pieces of code, and make sure to change this selector to H5. And then you can see that your new H5 text right here is able to be tweaked. So again, you can mess around with the font size. You can mess around with the letter spacing, the line height, all of those elements that are going to make your text look exactly how you want it to look. You can go ahead and play around with those here using this code until you are totally happy with how things look. You can also play around with adding or removing other lines of code that you might want to use to tweak your font to see how those affect things as well. But this is just going to get you started with the basics and is pretty much a good coverage of everything you're going to need. And that is everything that you need to know in order to upload your custom font into Squarespace. And if you weren't quite sure where to find a good custom font, you now also have a few great options for that as well. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. If you're looking for some more videos similar to this one, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post new videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one.